checker. Good evening, everybody. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Today, everybody is celebrating Jesus' birthday. It was so wonderful. I had such a great time today. I took the best nap. It was amazing. I am Christian Alexander. This is Christian in Focus. I am joined today by two of the coolest brothers this side of the Mason Dixon. Let me tell you, Mr. Durrell Douglas and Mr. Tristan Porter. I am blessed that they have decided to hop on the stream today, and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Gentlemen,
Tristan,
anybody
take
can
it
go.
away.
Anybody can
Oh,
go.
yeah. My name's Tristan, man. I'm originally from Houston, born and raised. Was living in DC for a few years, doing some work with the Center for Men's Health Equity. I kind of focused on, just men's mental health, kind of in Black faith spaces, because there's some lack, I think, in making religion and faith practical, and so that's really kind of what I tend to focus on. And glad to be a part of the pod, and I appreciate you letting me be a part of it.
Thank you for being here. And Mr. Douglas.
Yes, sir. Durrell Douglas, born and raised here in Houston, Texas. I've worked on campaigns across the United States. I've worked for labor, worked for nonprofit, seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I've seen behind the yellow, all the way down the yellow brick road. I peek behind the curtain, and I peek behind the curtain, and glad to be here today. Glad to see what you're doing. How they used to say, long time fan, first time caller. There we go.
Yeah, man. It's the same. Durrell has a phenomenal podcast. It's called The Black House, if I'm not mistaken.
It says the Black House right there. Actually, if I flip my thing around, it says the Black House right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which
Yeah.
dope name, by the way. Dope
Thank you.
name. Dope name. Durrell is an amazing interviewer. If you live in Harris County or if you don't live in Harris County, his show is definitely worth a watch. He makes our our public leaders look human, right? Like he helps he's a conduit for like humanizing these folks, to a crowd that otherwise would not get to see them in that light. And I think that is a beautiful thing that
Thank
you
you.
are doing. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I've had a little bit to drink today. It is Christmas, so I
Hey,
will.
I was about to start. I was debating it. This is Topo Chico. I like the lime Topo Chico. People be thinking I be walking around drinking Heineken all day, and it's not. It's a Topo Chico. But I'm about to join you, Christian. I got
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
Crisco over
Please,
there. Yeah.
please, happy holidays, and then right. Let me tell y'all about Mr. Porter down here. Um, So I like to spend a lot of my time. Merry Christmas, ain't it? I love you, baby. I like to spend a lot of my time talking to my friends about the Lord, right? Like I love to talk about Christianity, religion, and I like to talk about anything that brings people together, like for purpose. And being a black man, the foundation of like, kind of who I am as a person is like my faith, the faith that was instilled in me by my mother, my grandmother, so on and so forth. And I don't really meet other brothers who, when I do talk to them about religion and God and things like that, it's kind of like we're in tune. And Tristan is that dude. Like, and I mean, like, if you got any questions about like what it say or what it mean or what it could mean for you or how it should make you feel, that brother got an answer and he got a good one. Like, and I appreciate him, for taking on the mantle that he is taking on in his practice, which is helping, people who look like us understand the power in it and the power that they have as people. So I want to say thank you, brother, and thank you for allowing me to tell everybody how dope you are.
Man, I appreciate that. Appreciate
Yeah. So, oh, hey Amber, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. So you know, excuse me. All right, let's get it together. Last week, Durrell rounded up a group of great people to come and play Monopoly. at his apartment building, and it was a great game. I'm not gonna say who won, but I know if we would have continued the game, I
Yeah.
would have won.
You gonna win?
I would have won, dog. Like
Okay.
I
Okay.
had that deal I set up. Like it was a great deal. I got like 6 properties and all her money.
And people weren't gonna land on that. That's true. Because it's
Yeah,
not the
yeah. Like
computer. It's not the computer. People weren't gonna land on her anymore. That's true.
it wasn't gonna happen, right? Like it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So like yeah, but she won. She won.
Yeah. And she's a judicial candidate. A judicial
Yes,
candidate. Yeah.
she won. She won. Very strategic young lady, right? But so during that game, we were having a conversation. Durrell, what do you call your chat GPT?
Chatisha.
Yes.
Chatisha.
He
And
calls
she
his
sounds like
chat
a black woman
GPT,
too.
which is hilarious. But it spawned this conversation because I've been having some cognitive dissonance about my AI use. Just
Hmm.
like the more right? Like you just kind of can't help but like, oh my God, like, am I harming the world, right? And I was using my AI one day to do something, and it started talking to me like in black, right? Like it was like, yo, like,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was like, what's going on? Like, why is it doing that? Like, like, and we kind of had that conversation, and it led me down a rabbit hole. Your homegirl Jennifer, she kind of checked me on my AI use, and it was like, yo, if you feel this way about it, why are you still using it? I deleted ChatGPT off my phone that day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I deleted it. Like I don't like, I'm not saying like I'm not all the way off the horse, right?
Okay.
I'm still doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm still
Yeah.
doped up, but
Yeah.
only on the desktop.
Okay.
Only on the desktop. But I did take it off of my phone because like she was right. Like, like it does. And even like her son Quinn, he's 16. Like he was like, yo, I don't use it, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, the resilience of this young man,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
like so it took me down this whole rabbit hole to what does this look like for people like that?
Mm.
Like, what does this advancement in technology look like in our communities? What does the implementation look like, especially because it's not something that we control? We don't have any control over it. And a lot of the people who are creating this technology, they don't look like us, right? Like, so what is that like, as far like it talking to me like on some like homeboy type, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who told it to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and if we start to adopt this thing in a whole bunch of different ways, like they used to have the cameras where they're like, the face recognition cameras and stuff, and they would pick
Hmm.
up wrong people, like it could be bad. Like, what do y'all think?
I have an unpopular take. I may let Tristan go first.
Um, no, I tend to kind of fall in line with your line of thinking. I kind of wrote a what if paper on this once, and we were kind of looking at these self-driving cars and the technology in them, and the AI that's a part of that, and kind of looking at what would happen if you taught the car how to kind of read within, like, a kind of a situation, or like say an accident is about to happen, if you taught the computer to try to analyze and decide which vehicle would have, which person in which vehicle would have the best probability of survival, right? And so, well, then the question is, well, what metrics are being put in to measure that? And to your point, Christian, because so few people from diverse backgrounds are part of these rooms where these decisions are being made as to what is more valuable, what's to be considered when we're talking about saving life, and what life is more valuable. I think that's just something that you don't want to put into the hands of any one company, group of people, handful of people. Um, and you kind of mentioned the faith aspect. I think this is better to, I think, in these situations, man, to let I guess God's will be done, for lack of a better word.
Mm.
I don't know. For me, I look at it like, you ever see those commercials and it's like, if you or a family member was exposed to blah blah blah, you may be entitled to compensation, right? And this comes because a lot of times things don't get tested all the way out before they're just put out. So you look at like the flame retardant material asbestos that was like, oh, it's flame retardant. Yeah, it also is carcinogenic as well, right? So I think a lot of things, medications, technology, you know, they come out, we see the good part. There are a lot of unintended consequences. To your point about the car, uh, I used to have a car that had like it would put you back in the lane, right? Like it would just, but sometimes I wasn't even going out of the lane. It's just our streets are messed up. So you think I'm going out of the lane and I'm really not. But the bigger point, I think, a lot of folks, and I don't have children, but I hear a lot of folks say, take that screen away. No more screen time, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but that's the future. So like, why not give your kid a head start? And I would say when it comes to Chat GPT, like with any other, I was trying to help my mom connect her Bluetooth speaker to her TV early today, right? That's why I need a drink. That's where the drink comes in. But it's like she's so far removed that
Yeah.
this task is just monumental. And if we do that, and I understand, hey, power to the people, but I love me in Starbucks, Nitro Grande every now and then, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And hey, as a Target got some nice sweaters. I'm a big guy. Hey, I may slide through there and give me a Christmas sweater. So it's a give and take for me.
Yeah, no, the Target thing was tough for me. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the Target thing was tough because I don't shop at Walmart. Like, I go to Target and I go to Costco. Like, those are like my stores. If I'm not going to one of them, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like,
Yeah.
and as far as if you're talking about like politics and like doing stuff, like Walmart, it's Walmart.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, does that really? It's just like people who try to say, like, do you have the union bug on your flyer? Well, how many union shops are black owned? If I have to choose one, you get what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, man, that's tough.
I
right?
think if I and so I think we're looking at it at two levels, right? And so I think I'm, because it's politics, I'm more so looking for, I guess, the control from like a governmental standpoint, like our elected officials. What would we want them to do? And I do agree that this technology, AI, Chat GPT, Perplexity, things like that, it is the future. But that doesn't mean that it has to come forward like unregulated and unchecked. Like, to your point,
Yeah.
there's some testing, but not a lot of testing.
Mhm.
And it could be done if the people we elected would put the proper regulations in place, right? And so if we
Mm-hmm.
have,
Mm-hmm.
the proper regulations, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But until we get that, until we get the proper guidance, until we get enough eyes and enough hands, then I think it's something that it'd be better to not have than to just have it kind of free and out there, and for people to kind of figure it out. I mean, because realistically, um, we as people, we need guidance,
Yeah.
from people who know better than us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Experts. I think we've gotten to a place where kind of, expertise, and knowledge, and real, extensive experience has kind of been cast aside just for any kind of free thought. And I think we really kind of, need to lean back, to those types of things before we just kind of say, hey, let's go forward and kind of learn on the fly. But I do agree. I mean, we need to find some balance because it is the future, and it's not going anywhere. I think it's just about how soon and how quickly we allow it to be introduced into society.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with that. And I think from the standpoint of as far as things that directly impact our community, right? Like we talked about at the Monopoly game, how they're building these data centers. right? In these low income neighborhoods. People getting cancer, right? Like they having nosebleeds. Like there are a lot, like there's an environmental impact that is happening, right? Like, we have like a huge environmental justice problem in the black community, like just period. So, whenever big companies, governments, or anything like that need to build anything, they'll move those who are vulnerable, right, to be able to achieve the goal. I mean, I'm that parent, right? No, like less screen time, right? But I'm also like, the other side, right? Like where it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, it is the future. Like, and I'm using it. I need to show her how to use it, right? Like everybody need to learn how to use it. And I think this goes into my next point is I'm not seeing, right, like in our community, let me make this, let me go back. When I used to live in Michigan, right? I always go back to this. There was this guy that
which
used to
part of
work
Michigan? Not to cut you off. Which part?
Detroit on the east side in
See,
Jefferson Chalmers.
I
I
be
was
forgetting.
actually there when I think you were there. I think maybe you,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
this is when Gretchen Whitmire ran for governor.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. I think you might have been there because when I moved up there, somebody told me like reach out to Durrell, but I was
Yeah,
running that campaign and it was insane.
okay,
But my campaign was in Livonia.
okay.
Yeah, so I
It was
was with
some
the
folks.
dog. I
Yeah,
was never so happy to be Southern after I left. Like, yeah, yeah, no, that racism is different.
yeah,
It is different. Like,
yeah,
oh, that's for another time though. Like the way they talked about like Detroit, like going into Detroit, like if you would talk, oh my goodness, you would think it, you would think it was twisted metal, bro. Like dude, you would literally think that they were talking about driving into a barren wasteland of just like nuclear
yeah,
sludge and dust and desolation. And
yeah,
there's no one who loves anyone that lives there. Like
yeah,
I'm like, what in the hell is wrong with y'all? Like this is the coolest place ever.
yeah.
It's
Huh?
so like shout out to Detroit, right? Like
Yes. What
cause
up, though?
like yes, like love Detroit, but yes. So when I was living up there, they have a large middle like population of people from the Middle East and like Southeast Asia and stuff. And
Hmm.
so I had hired this elderly Indian man named Mahadev Desai. I'll never forget this man's name. And he would always come in the office and talk to me like real soft, like, hi Christian, how are you? Like, how's your family? Like very warm, loving, you know what I mean? Like kind of like a Indian uncle, right?
Yeah.
Like my dev was cool. And one thing he used to always impart on me is that every Saturday he went to the community center and he taught the children from his region of the world about their people and their customs. And they like came together to like have this history lesson like all the time. Like every Saturday, it was like a place
Hmm.
where they went to go learn about themselves, right? And that always sticks with me. And going to this AI thing, like there's this new frontier. Same way I feel about cannabis, no different. These are two new frontiers that are in front of us that like the powers that be have not figured out how to regulate.
Hmm.
Where is that community center, right? That my dev, speaks of. Like I'm like, matter of fact, I'm at Boondocks one day talking to one of the homies, right? He African. They got like a thing going on in their community where the elders bring them like these economic opportunities and like you got to be African to be in there. And he directly said like you can't get down because you're not African.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, I'm brown too, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, I think and this is I would like to ask you, Tristan, like, cause I think that right, like, I think that the church should be in front of this, cause it is our like biggest like institution. It's the thing that we have the most control over, and I think that like the church not being the head of like what the AI race looks like for like people who look like us, I think that is a grave disservice to us. Like, but I also am not like heavily involved. So before I project too many criticisms, I would like to ask, like, what are your thoughts? And if you do know, right, if there is something going on within that system that is going to be aiding this, like, right, how can I get involved?
Man, that's a good question. Uh, It's a tough question because I think you can find various congregations, across the United States that are kind of tapped into what's coming, and trying to do their best to kind of roll with the times. But truthfully, a lot of congregations are behind, and I think I need to kind of clarify. So I grew up Church of Christ, right? We are um, fundamentalists, if you will, kind of letter of the law approach to the Bible, and we are certainly one of those groups. Now, I'm gonna use the word denomination, but officially we consider ourselves non-denominational. Um, but I think it's hard to at any rate. Man, we are one of those ones where we kind of teach that the only thing you need to focus on, just focus on the Bible and the afterlife, right? Is all that matters. But I think in many ways, what kind of people forget. In the same way that people forget that the physical is connected to like the mental, right? As far as health is concerned, right? You need good physical health for good mental health. You need good mental health for good physical health. In that same respect and regard, your earthly life needs to be pleasant. If you're going to have a chance to make heaven your home, as a quote that we would say. And a lot of times, I think we kind of subconsciously, right, teach that life is about suffering, right? And if you don't suffer properly here, then you suffer for eternity in the next life. And because of that, we put so much focus on not messing up, right? That we don't actually live the way that we should. So kind of we watch sports, and you might have a team that it gets to the near the end of the game, and they're talking about, hey, they're playing not to lose, they're not playing to win.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think that's a lot of people's approach to Christianity. We don't want to toe the line, and I think that's a mistake. God said, "Try me, test me, see that I'm good." And I think that there's some spaces where we could be more involved. Um, you know, you mentioned kind of the Black church, faith spaces kind of being the hub for Black people and activism. Um, the lack of history being taught is a major thing. I think people don't realize that in the early stages of Black emancipation and Reconstruction, Black people weren't given anything except the church, right?
Hmm.
Except the church, and sometimes that came with conditions, right? And so maybe if a Black preacher wanted to start a church, of course he would need to go to a white minister for funding, but that would come with, we'll give you the funding as long as you don't talk about politics, right? And in order to keep the church viable, to have that one space where Black people could go and seemingly be protected, a lot of Black people capitulate, and that tradition to kind of stay away from, to don't focus on politics just so we can make it, so we can kind of get to the other side. It still kind of holds true. I mean, and it's something that was kind of dealt with in the Bible too. If you kind of look at Paul always talks about the end being near, right? And when Paul meant near, he meant near. Like I don't think Paul had any idea that 2,000 years later, the earth would be spinning. And so, and just like kind of then, people kind of focused on the after as opposed to the now. We're still doing the same.
Mm.
Um, and so I preached a sermon not too long ago. I said I grew up with a family of educators. And one thing they talk about, when kids' behavior start to change, right? It's something going on at home, right? And
Hmm.
so because yes, you expect good behavior at school, but it's connected to what's going on at home. And
That is
so, the same thing with life and living. You can talk about, being a Christian and making heaven your home all you want. But when you really look at the example Jesus gave, man, he was out, in his parable in the vineyard, in the field doing the work. And I think we need to get the church to realize that includes participating in these town halls, seeing, what these candidates are talking about. You don't have to. preach or try to proselytize anybody to make sure that the people you are advocating for are about feeding the poor, right? To make sure that they are about healing the sick. Like all of these things line up perfectly with what Jesus taught and what he expected. And I think kind of bringing that back to the forefront, and making sure that it's not just about individualized righteousness. It's not about avoiding the clubs. It's not about going to the parties, the drinking and smoking. Yeah, that could be a part of it, but that's certainly not the major thing that Christ
Mm.
focused on, nor that we as Christians should be focused
So how do we like? I mean, and I pitch this to you, Durrell.
Yeah.
Like with knowing, right? Like that it is this particular mindset that right, like that like us as like the younger generation. What I'm saying, we're battling with the powers that be within our own community to be able to get attention paid to like things like this, and it be like like it's politics is great,
Yeah.
right? Like it's great. I love
Yeah.
it. But it's not like we got a lot there's a lot of ways to dig a garden, right? There's a lot of ways
Hmm.
for us to like plant flowers.
Hmm.
And I think that, like, my question to Tristan was how do we get how we wrangle up all of these
Yeah.
groups, right? Like
Yeah.
I said last week, the Baptist, I can't remember what it's called, like, but it's the Association of like Baptist churches. There's
Hmm.
21,000 churches in
Hmm.
this organization. 21,000. Just
Yeah.
imagine how many people.
Right. Yeah. I think, as Tristan was talking, I was thinking about Kenneth Rogers. He and his wife are really involved with one of the super neighborhoods. I think the Third Ward super neighborhood. And so they're also part of this thing called the Afro American Historical and Genealogical Society. So they invite me to one of their meetings because they only meet once a month and they meet in person. And they were like, "Hey, we're trying to get some young people." And I find it funny. It's like I'm 39, I'll be 40, and
You're
but
still a young person.
I'm still a young person to them, right?
Yeah.
So I go to the meeting, and Kelton Sams is there with his book. Kelton Sams helped organize the very first sit-in back in the 60s. It actually happened in 1960. And he was young then, right? So he does his whole talk. He brings some books, he signs copies and all that. I had to get when I have it, I could go over there to my bookshelf. But when it came to Q&A, I asked him this question. I said, my generation and the one before me looks to y'all as the blueprint. We look at the 60s, we look at the civil rights movement as the penultimate example of what organizing for our people looks like. What did y'all look up to? And his answer was the church. Before there was the civil rights movement of the 60s, there was the church that was that barometer, that was that what's the thing that's the compass, right? It was the
Mm-hmm.
meeting place, it was the convener. And to further answer, I think the problem comes in when the certain pastors, certain churches cannot speak against where they're getting their grant from or they're getting their funding from for their daycare. You go in certain churches on Sunday. Ooh, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. It's 30 people there.
Mm-hmm.
How are you keeping the building on? How are you keeping the lights on? And when you have those dependencies, then now it's skewed. Now it is a you ever tried to feed like a Cheeto to a squirrel? He won't eat it. It's not organic. And
Mm-hmm.
it's for that reason that you can't. I believe that's one of the. Now there are examples of ones that are not like that, but I think that's a big thing that we have to point out and acknowledge.
on. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
can I jump back in right there? Because he
yeah, yeah,
said
yeah,
something that
please.
reminded me. And to answer your question, I think when we polled in DC, when we polled young people, and it's different region to region, because in different regions people care about different things. It's easy to find people in DC in the DMV area who are like politically active because that's what's there, right? Like almost if you're there, it's because you have some type of interest in politics in some type of way. But young folks, my age, Gen Z, Alpha, Gen Alpha, what they were looking for were churches who were politically aware and socially active. That's what they were looking for, like, and trying to find membership, and trying to gain things. And Brother Durrell mentioned some very important, where the again, where the grant comes from, and again, like I mentioned with the early church, just recently, the IRS changed course on one of its policies that allows ministers to endorse from the pulpit, and churches still keep their tax exempt status. Now, up until this is just a few months ago, and up until that, technically, if you had done that, you would lose your tax. You're supposed to lose your tax exempt status. Now we know, we've seen years worth of video
Yeah.
from our white counterparts who have been endorsing whole parties, specific candidates for years, right? And so this is the level of boldness that we're talking about, that just hasn't, historically, recently, and when I say recently, last 40 years,
Yeah.
hasn't come from the pulpit in the black church,
Yeah.
for that very reason. But now, that veil has kind of been, to use some Bible terminology, that veil has been lifted, right? And so now it's incumbent upon preachers who are in place, but a lot of the preachers are still part of the old guard,
That's what
right?
I'm saying.
You know,
Do you think they're gonna flex that power? Like, can
some
you
will.
see? Can you like? I mean, but just and that's why I'm so gung ho on this, like because what are we doing, right? Like I get like right, people want to have they want their cake, right? They trying to get their bread up and all of that, right? But at come on, dog. Like, how do we move them people out the way? They're not old yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
because they're like, cause Tristan, right? I don't know if you know Durrell, but like me and Tristan talked about it. So my family started a church in Virginia, right? Like, so I got a cousin, Cecil Upton. He started New Hope United Church of Christ. I'm from South Norfolk, from a neighborhood called Berkeley. It's the church I kind of grew up in that church, but I also grew up going to the United House of Prayer for All People, which was started by a very eccentric man named Charles Manuel Grace, later and most infamously known as Daddy Grace. You can look him up. He's the bishop of the church. And all of the bishops of this church don't go by bishop, they go by daddy. Yes, it is a very interesting congregation of people. But I mean, it's awesome. When you go in there, it's awesome, right? Like they don't have like a traditional choir. There's a bunch of dudes with trombones. It's like New Orleans street music, but in church. It's
Oh,
crazy. Like it is. I mean, everybody is dancing. It's super, super, super Pentecostal, right? But the thing that I admire about the organization, like the institution, is what not well. Daddy Grace didn't do it. Daddy McCullough did it. He was the one who saw the vision of like how to spread it. So him, because there was another guy at the time, getting a little bit off, but there's another guy at the time named Father Divine. Father Divine started this movement where everybody had to change their names to stuff like Meek Faith and stuff like that. But it was like super Christian. He came up from North Carolina, told a bunch of people he was God. He actually integrated the Coast Guard.
wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So they don't teach us about these niggas.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't teach us about these people, because what these people did was, why I'm mentioning them is because they created these economies for people who look like us.
Yeah.
And they were able to, bring, whatever extravagancies, right? Like, because Daddy Grace, he was a little out there. Daddy McCullough, he turned it into like an actual national organization. There's a house of prayer in like almost every state. They're
Wow.
all up and down the eastern seaboard. There's one in Dallas. There's one in L.A. There's one in Seattle. Like, and it's a church,
Wow.
right? Like, how do you franchise church like McDonald's? How you do that?
Yeah.
But like in the places, right, like where I'm from in Virginia, there's like 4 or 5 of these churches in one area.
Hmm.
So like this institution has every election cycle at least 7 to 10,000 black people that they have direct influence over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they figured out how to do this state after state after state after state. So if one church that is a little out there,
Yeah.
right? Like, you get on YouTube, they be like, this some cult shit.
Uh-huh.
But like, it's not a cult. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going on record saying it. Like,
Yeah.
it ain't no cult. It is a little out there,
Yeah.
but it's not a cult. Loving people, fried chicken. Five. Whenever we go to DC, if you ever go to DC, the church is next to the convention center.
Okay.
It's this big white church with these gold. I don't know if they're gold, but they got lions out front. It's like white and gold. It's very gaudy. It's very gaudy.
Huh.
But they got a kitchen in there underneath. Fire. The food is fire. And you'll be eating on that plate for 6 days. So much food. It's amazing.
I don't know. In Detroit, there's what they call the Black Slate, which is the slate that elected Coleman Young. It's the slate that, and I made it. I was endorsed by them. So just mentioned HBAD, but in Detroit, it's called the Black Slate. And they organize. It's not literally the Shrine of the Black Madonna, but it's like all the meetings are there and it's the same people, but I'm pretty sure they have to delineate. But that is one of the most succinct, surgical precision organizing entities that I've ever seen. And it's all Black people. And the endorsement, like HBAD sends mailers. There are a lot of other organizations, they send mailers and they have a slate. In Detroit, people literally, when they go to vote, they're not trying to hear nothing you got to say. They're looking for the person with that slate card. And the people wear these aprons. It was the strangest thing for me. So the people know to look for the people with the aprons on.
That's great.
And it is a trusted, like, people don't have to do their research. They vote the slate.
Yeah.
I actually won Detroit because of that slate. I won Wayne County because of that slate. And as it was happening, I thought to myself, man, if we could duplicate certain parts of this, man, right? And the people that put it together, and I don't know, maybe some of them can see it. They all have different, they have like different names, like they all have like African names.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady that runs it, she's not trying to hear nothing about no iPads. She's not trying to hear any. She got clipboards, they got pencils, they got the aprons. So it's like, how can we take little pieces of what works and lean into it? And then the last thing I'll say, 10 years ago, I was more interested in trying to convince the powers that be to either pass the baton. You ain't even got to give it to me. Can you give it to him? Right?
Yeah.
And can you organize? People are following you. Can you do something with this? It's got to go beyond your church doing a town hall. Like, there's no plan after, and that's why people fall off, because they waste their evening, and then on the way home, they're like, that was a waste of time. So now they don't want to go to the next thing. So it's like, I think, and I wrote a long post about this earlier today, Keith Wade is gone. Larry Payne is gone. Alvin Bird is gone. Sheila Jackson Lee, Sylvester Turner, all these people are gone. They started from scratch and built what has, until most recently, kind of fizzed out. I think people like you, Christian, people like you, Tristan, people like myself, people that are watching are like, this is your call to take your piece of whatever it is and to build that thing, whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that you are saying. And I mean, I remember watching a YouTube video, and it was like a panel of Black people in like the 70s. And there were, I think, 30 different organizations represented. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. It's insane. There's too many different groups.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, why though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why today when we didn't seen it, right? Like, I mean, it gotta be, are we insane? Right? We've seen it not work,
Yeah.
right? Like, and there's this group, there's that group, there's this group, there's that group, right? You know what I mean? I'm learning about, like, the social classes among black people,
Hmm.
right? Like,
Oh
that's
yeah.
something
Yeah.
new
That's a
that
thing
I'm
too.
being
Yeah.
introduced to, right? Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like, y'all
Yeah.
don't like niggas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so, but if and maybe I'm just too much of a dreamer,
No, no, I
right?
think you're
Like,
on. Yeah.
but I think that, like, if no matter where you come from, no matter, like, how well funded your black experience,
Mm-hmm.
if you genuinely care about the
Mm-hmm.
forward progress of the race,
Mm-hmm.
we have to have a common sense conversation about the resources that we do have at our disposal
Mm-hmm.
so that we can help ourselves move forward and not get left behind. They have bought all of the houses,
Mm-hmm.
they done bought all the land.
Mm-hmm.
All we got is the internet, and we're not taking advantage of it, other than, right, like
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram. Like, but like, there is a way for us to be able to get our 40 acres and a mule out of this. It is the greatest store in the history of the world. You
Yeah.
don't got to leave your house to make money. I used to sell Taco Bell sauce
Really?
on eBay.
I used to sell musical instruments.
Dog, you see,
Yeah.
like, you don't gotta leave your house. Taco
Really?
Bell sauce is free. Like, and
Yes.
that's just like a small
Yeah.
example of, like, the possibilities that exist. But like,
Mm-hmm.
my Dev Desai, like, going back to Detroit, where are those weekend? Hey man, this is why you all should be proud to be a Negro.
Yeah. I, I think it goes by example. Like, you ever heard the term it's easier to fool a man than to convince him he's being fooled? Have you
Say
ever
again.
tried to convince somebody to do something, but it's easier to just demonstrate it? So, like, I just stopped convincing people. Like, when I come up with a new idea, I'm not like, hey, come aboard. I'm like, I'm gonna find two or three that agree, and we're gonna go and do it, and then it'll grow. And then, Christian, I would push back a little bit, and I would say, I think we need 100 organizations
Oh wow.
because there's so much work to do that the old way of yore, which was there's one leader, there's a Dr. King. Well, they killed those people, and then the movement falls apart. But if it's 100 that are all working on their end, I'll use this as an example. You look at Michael. There'll never be another Michael Jackson because we have too many options to listen to. There'll never be another Oprah because there will never be 5 channels that everybody watches, right?
Yeah,
So it's like the inverse of that is YouTube exists. We're on YouTube right now.
this is true.
That's the pro to the con, right?
Mm-hmm.
Con, it's more distributed and it's scattered, but the pro is anyone can start if they want to. And then another thing that we have to realize, and this has been really hard for me to truly accept, is that everybody does not want to build towards anything. There, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. That
Mm-hmm.
exists. And so, like, understanding that part too, and I think we're already doing it. I don't think it's as scattered. I think some of those old things they may be big now, but they're not as big as they used to be. And they're already phasing out.
Yeah.
It's a couple of people who are elected that I've just said, okay, I'll just wait you out. Look at the clock. What is it? 2025, 2026? We got another 15 years. I can wait it out. you know,
I'm a
Look,
young man.
5, 7. See, Christian, you'll get me you'll get me in trouble. It's
You
like,
gonna get yourself in trouble. You gonna get yourself in trouble. You are good at doing that. Like, you are good at doing that. Y'all, you don't need my help.
good. Yeah. Just Google them. Look them up on Wikipedia. What's that birthday? Yeah.
Can I? And you said some, both of you guys said some important stuff, and I think just I start backwards. Yeah, no, I won't do that. going back to the church, right? And why you know you have older people, or not older, just people in general. There's a gentleman in the Bible, in Third John. His name is Diotrephes, right?
Wow.
He is
That's a mouthful.
he is most known for being a powerful leader within the church, but he would kind of disregard, instruction from like the apostles or whatever, when they would, send instruction because, he wanted the preeminence. Like he wanted to be the top authority, of the church. Um, and I think it's important to remember that power never cedes power willingly, right? It's always forced out of. I think that's, for say what we want about him, Joe Biden, for him to voluntarily not run, for that second term. Politicians don't give up terms. They're typically forced out.
Yeah.
And it's, the president, I mean, you're laying down the most powerful position in the world, right? For the betterment, or what you believe to be the betterment of society. And that kind of goes to what Brother Durrell mentioned, and kind of the frustrating part. You have to realize that some people just don't want to build towards, the better. But I think, it's incumbent upon, people who can see the bigger picture, especially if you call yourself a Christian, that your building is even for them as well, right? For the people who don't want to, right? And so, I told somebody else the other day, Jesus didn't, or we don't get a lot about, whether he was involved, with politics of the government, but we know he was because he paid tax,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
And like the one thing he taught about or talked about was like paying tax. Even when you get to Romans, where it talks about obeying the law of the land, when you read down a little further, it's dealing with tax, right?
mm.
And I think God, and and Jesus, and the wisdom, right, understood that taxes is for the betterment of the entire community, right, of the society. Um, and so yeah, I think it in getting people to understand that, Christians to understand that, like, hey man, your main goal, like, is to be lifting up, the less
Yeah.
fortunate. So I don't even know how they get caught with that. But I also agree with the rail in that, and the reason why we need many groups is because there are many barriers, right?
Mm,
And it's like a battle. You need people. We have the Navy, the Marines, the Army, the Air Force, and you need people in groups on all fronts, right? We need people who specialize in social media, right, to kind of lay a groundwork or framework, a game plan for how we'll deal with social media. We need a group of people who are proficient, in religion and theology, to kind of help break us away from some of the old traditions that have us in the place we are right now. We need a group of people who are proficient, right, and experts in politics, right, and in messaging, and getting that out. And we need those people to work and focus within those groups. Right. So I have ADHD. Like one of my huge problems is that I can't pick one subject to focus on long enough, because when I'm in the subject, then I see something else I want to chase, right? And so it's good to have those groups and different amount of people, who have those skills, who can be laser focused, probably leading at the top, um, because you need each. And I think what we don't do well, is to truly define what do we want,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
As of what is the ultimate goal, right? In the perfect world, right? And we know that we're not going to get there, right? At least in our lifetime. I tell people, but I'm not doing this, just for myself. I have nieces, I have nephews, I got friends with kids, and so at the pinnacle of whatever we believe we want to achieve, what does that look like? And when
I
we
think.
decide that,
Oh, my bad.
no, go ahead. I said, and when we decide that, we can kind of decide, you know, next best step. Yeah,
So I mean, I think right. So I would excuse me. I think that we should have some organizations, just not 100, maybe like 30,
Yeah.
like, and they all need to work together, like a like a big Like kind of like a
Hmm.
company, but like not a company. Like you said, I don't know
Yeah.
which one of you said it. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, right? Like they're all the individual branches of the government, but they're like a part of the body.
Hmm. I,
And go ahead. What you gonna say?
I would argue, and it's gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
It's okay. Say it.
I would argue that out of that 30, right? Let's just say it's 50 total, but 30 are actually doing the work.
Okay.
Everyone knows the 20 that aren't worth anything because you know it by the fruit that is produced. So we don't need to convince them to come aboard, stand back, and let it sink. In fact, please don't come to our thing. Please. No, 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 no. Because I don't want that to spread. It's contagious, right? And so give them something busy to do. You may do this with your daughter. She's acting up. Hey, 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 look, go play with this. That's the way we need to handle them. And if you pay attention,
I can agree with that.
that's kind of the way we are handling them without calling that thing a thing, because then now they cussing you out on Facebook and now you're the enemy. No, hey, go play with this. See the bottle?
Yeah.
Play with
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bottle. It's a flute.
Yeah. I
Man,
mean,
that's
I
good.
oh, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
my
Go
bad.
ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess since you had me here for the faith aspect, I'm gonna add another story to it. Man, there's a story of is it Genesis? I think I don't know. Don't give me the line. But Gideon, at any rate, Gideon is getting ready to go to battle with the Midianites, and I think the story goes that they start out with 10,000 people, and God looks down and he was like, oh yeah, no, that's too many people. We can't go to war with that. You can't win with that many people. Let's trim the number down. So then it gets down to 2,000, and it said that God looks and he says, no, 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 that's still too many people. And they said, I tell you what, he said, when you approach a river, people are going to drink in two ways. He said, people that drink in this way, if they drink that way, you send those people home. The people that drink this way, he said, those are the people that you want to go to battle with. And at the end of the story, it says that it dwindled down to 300 men,
Wow.
Gideon and 300 men, and they
Mhm.
went and they prevailed against the Midianites. And I think to Durrell's point, you need numbers, but maybe not as many as we think, right? Because
Mhm.
in the story is the 8,000 that went, the 9,700 that ended up going total. They're still going to reap the benefit, right,
Yeah.
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 of the victory. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just knowing that hey, everybody has a role, and in this part, this not your role. I can't work with you.
Yeah.
And so like you said, sometimes you got to send them home, or sometimes you just got to leave and go on without them, right? And
Mhm.
just hey, when it's time to come enjoy, we'll let you know. But and so yeah, but I thought that was a good point, brother.
If I could hop in and say, Christian, to the first point that you made, you know, my mom has been trying to get me to go to church with her for the longest.
Mhm.
And this has been my battle. Whew. And my cousin actually, he went to theology, what is it, seminary at Baylor. Pastor Chris Gordon, if you know him, Tristan. But you know, a lot of church has become theatrics. And to Tristan, the way he just broke that down, like I would actually attend a Bible study. I do not want to go to Disney on Ice on Monday morning. I
Yeah.
do not want there's a certain pastor I was scrolling past and like the sound wasn't even on, but he was just doing so much. And it's like, you got to do that every Sunday? Like, I mean, it's just like, it, I can't dive into that. It's almost like when I go over to my mom's house and she's watching Tubi, I'm sorry, or a Tyler Perry movie. I'm just like, this is what we're doing, right? So like, to your point, I think the church has everybody's got an LED screen, right? Um, everybody's got the big screen behind them, and I think part of that organizing that you're talking about is the stripped down version. I don't want to go to the concert. I want the tiny desk performance.
Yeah.
I don't want the recorded version. I want the studio version. And I think that's what's pushing a lot of people away.
I think what when you saying what you think it looked like, to me that looks and sounds like Kanye's Sunday service.
Oh,
Um, yeah, like you see how that like,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, I think that it is, the church just so important.
yes,
Just just in general, it's just so important. And that's why I also wanted Tristan to be here, right? Because in order to talk to us, we got to talk in a lot of different ways.
yes.
Like especially for the knowledge to be retained. Like
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you are, like where you from, what your upbringing was, and it's like a lot of the times, a lot of us, like we are really, 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 really ingrained in our faith. And if we can make a connection as to like why, like this is a good thing, like in that sphere, like we could really move the needle forward. Like I I don't I, I don't mind waiting 15 years.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? Like, young ministers, young people like
yeah,
Tristan in the pulpit,
yeah,
right, give me faith
yes,
that, the message can be received well. Like, right,
yeah,
that boy good.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, and with this being our greatest vehicle, we need people to be able to get up there and call a thing a thing,
Do
right?
you know? Do
Like
you know? Do you know who Freddie Haynes is?
he's running for
Jasmine Crockett Seat. So,
yeah. I
so he's
so one of my former classmates preaches at his church.
so that is the only church that I've ever joined as an adult.
Really?
Yeah, I lived in Dallas. They don't have a social justice ministry. They are a social justice church.
Mm.
And I was invited by somebody. I went like 3 or 4 Sundays in a row. And when it was decision time, I went down. I joined the young adult choir. They have a choir called the OMG Choir. And that was like, wow. The only reason why I stopped going there is because I moved back to Houston. And
Mm-hmm.
I have not been able to find that same, right, like connection. There are churches that have a social justice ministry, but it's like, as I found it, politics is kind of like tucked away in a neat little package over here. Hey, they got some cookies in the fellowship hall. Go over there and see what Sister Smith talking about. But it's not woven into. Jesus was an actor. He was a community organizer. That is literally what it was. And I'm like, why are these two separate things? And
Mm-hmm.
and to your point, I mean, I think that's kind of the model. I'm surprised it didn't take off more. But yeah, I would say Friendship West on Wheatland in Dallas is a good model for that.
I've heard about him, and I mean, you know, I this has been a great conversation, um, because I think that we need to be able to find more unity in these organizations, and that's why I think there should be less of them. Because
Mhm.
it's better to do a project with four than it is with seven.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Some-
you know what I mean.
Somebody had a town hall for CD18. There were like 20 logos on the flyer. You could even see what the time and date was, right? And so I made the decision right then not to be number 31
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm going to be on a Zoom. It's chaos, right? And then it's too many voices, so it was like I'm better. Like we'll just go over there. We don't want
Mm-hmm.
to get in the way, you know. Um, yeah,
Yeah, we gotta figure out how to get them together, man. Like all of the community organizations, the churches, like there has to be some unison. I think that Houston right now in this time, especially Black Houston, I think we are like in a renaissance. Um, like
yeah, agree.
artistically, politically,
Yes.
like there's a lot going on here. Like,
Yeah.
and there are more and more and more black people from across the South coming to Houston
Yes.
to, like, to engage, to start new lives and things like that. And we are, I think we are at a pivotal time in history, like in this space right
Yeah.
now, where like there, and we got the internet.
Yes.
Like, what I'm
E-
saying, we can really shake some shit up.
Even 10 years ago, like I remember explaining to somebody who was moving to Houston from somewhere else, and they were like, man, I just can't get in. And I was like, okay, Houston is cliquish. It is a huge place, but it's also very small. Like
Hmm.
there are certain prerequisites where unless you have to, it's almost, I don't know, I'm not Greek, but I hear it's like that. Like you have to be invited in.
This is
And
true.
with it with it being the fourth largest city, it could feel, I mean, I went to Detroit and it was like a family reunion. It was like they just welcome you in, right? It's just like, where you go to church? Okay, go here. What are you trying to do? Oh, now there's the I never had any, nothing was ever stolen from me in Detroit. I never felt unsafe in Detroit. Like what is painted for a reason, but it's like, wow, we could learn a lot from other places. And to your point, I think that's what's happening. People are moving here, and instead of waiting to get in the clique, they're creating their own thing, their own
Hmm.
community, their own, and they've realized like, no, we don't have to deal with the people who are existing there. We'll just build new.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that, but we got to figure out how to bring them in.
Yes.
Yeah, how can we, like, crochet this blanket?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Like, how
you
can
know, word of mouth is still the most effective tool uh, when it comes to getting people active. I think that's why I do involved with the church in the way I am. Because for a while, because of the performative nature of the church, what Brother Douglas talked about, man. I just said, I'm not dealing with with these people anymore, man. The fakeness.
yeah,
Um, but a couple things. I had a friend who committed suicide. And he was my friend from church.
Wow.
Known him. Since consciousness formed, we've known each other. His mom and my mom were friends when they were teenagers. And so, and I tell people, man, he's the one person who I know knows the Bible better than me, and yet it still didn't stop him from, doing what he did. And so, knowing as far as Christians are concerned, knowing the Bible isn't enough. There's an actual way that we are expected to live this out, that we are expected to behave.
hmm,
But so for me, I decided that if we are going to get more people active, then I have to be a part of it as well,
Mm,
and talk about my experiences. And so some of how you ask, it may be finding a church, to go down here and ask those type of questions in about like, why don't you guys, right? Putting pressure not only on our elected leaders, in political office, but the leaders in the community, not only, in the precincts, in the counties, but also in the churches, ask these people. And the worst thing that can happen is, they say something that, that doesn't quite make sense. And people see,
yeah.
people in the class know, at the church I go to, I ask tough questions. And in the class it'll seem, but after class, then I have people like, Brother Douglas will come, hey man, we really appreciate you. Make sure you keep that energy, keep that passion. We need people like you. Like, and so people are ready. A lot of times they just don't want to be first.
Yeah.
And so, it's incumbent upon people like us, who have the vision, who have the thought, to not be afraid of even stepping in spaces that we're uncomfortable with, including the church. Find
Mm,
you one down here, man, to put pressure on those people. Like, hey, this is what's you don't need to know the Bible to know that Jesus was about feeding the poor.
yeah.
Like that's and so if you go to a church and this isn't the main focus, you talking more about fornication than feeding the poor. You talking about what people doing in their house. More than how are we going to make healthcare affordable, or how are we going to feed kids who have less than, the focus is off,
True.
and we need to understand why that is. I mean, we know. but they need to know.
Yes.
They need to be caused to to think about some of the things that they're doing. Because a lot of people are in autopilot. They go to church on Sunday, they check the box.
Yes.
They hoot and they holler. I've done what I've needed, but really they've done nothing. And
Hmm.
so and that needs to be brought to their attention.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But we've been at this about an hour now. Yeah, about an hour. Yeah, we're gonna ahead and wrap up. Man, I want to say first and foremost, thank both of you um, for spending this hour with me today on Christmas. This has been dope.
Yeah.
I've,
Good.
I've really been having these thoughts on my brain, and I've been reading the Miseducation of the Negro.
Ooh, wait a minute. This book, right? Let me see. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah,
Where is it?
it's
It's over
that
here.
boy Carter G. Woodson. I mean, it's like that's like a lot of the stuff that he's saying in the book is like it's applicable to today.
Yeah.
Like
This is
like it's crazy.
yeah,
Like I mean, it's crazy.
right here.
Yes.
This is like some weird paperback,
Yo,
like
the picture on that turner.
she
That's
mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very contemporary. Yeah,
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 she mad.
yeah, very
Why they do
modern.
it like that? Got her on there. What? Wait, that's why would they choose that? Ain't no black person did this.
Why did they
Nobody.
do that?
That's what I'm saying, and it's. You know what I think it is? Okay, so once a work of art passes a certain amount of time, it could be reproduced for the public.
Oh, that's
That's what
right.
I think it is. Because this was originally like 1930 or something like that.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
this is like a recreation, clearly.
And she put her picture on it.
Yeah.
No, somebody, I think somebody that don't look like us was like, hey, this is just add it to the list of books that we could sell.
Yeah, why not? Let's make some money off of it. But so yes, so I've been reading that book, and just kind of going through those thoughts
Okay,
after that conversation with Jennifer.
can I make a challenge to you?
Yeah,
Could we do a miseducation of the Negro book club
I think that would be dope.
where, we go, I don't know, how many chapters is this? It's not that many. It's not a
It's not that many. I
very,
think it's like maybe 20, and they're not
Oh yeah,
long
that should be a
yeah,
quick one.
it's only 90, it's 96 pages in this one, including the prefix and the appendix. So, like, 25 pages at a time, do a 4-part little thing, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. I think that'll be good. I
and make it
mean,
virtual or make it in person. Like, I'd be down to help. I'm looking at me
Yeah.
suggesting it to you, but like, I don't want
yeah, I
to.
mean, like I mean, I could stream an extra day for
Yeah,
30 minutes and talk
yeah.
about the book. I think that would be cool. Like, I think that would be dope. I mean, it's just as far as getting the juices flowing,
Yeah.
things that are like, how can we help push the race forward?
Hmm.
I mean, and I think that is so important because the more people you get moving, the more people you get moving, the more money we making,
Absolutely. And
the
it's
better we
like
living.
when you throw that bait out there into the ocean or into the lake, the people who bite that bait, the people who sign up for this,
They
I don't
don't want
even
to
think
move
we
stuff.
yeah, like I don't even think we realize like the gifts that are within us until you go to something like that and you talk to other people, and then it's like, oh, that's where that idea came from. That's where that movement came from. I think,
Yeah.
especially after the pandemic, like people don't know how to go outside anymore. I think the combination of the pandemic, these things, right? You put all of that together, and it's like that's where this delineation comes from, and it's hitting us even harder.
Yeah. I mean, the run clubs have been doing well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe,
I, that remind Christian, that remind you missed that, not tied to the book, but the Facebook post, which originally made you invite me. So just whenever you want to talk about that, which was the church's idolization of
Oh.
marriage,
Yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah.
and the
Mm,
way that the church uses marriage as a measure of morality,
mm,
as the root cause for a lot of societal harms, and mental illness, as far as the family structure, especially the black family structure is concerned. That's something we are heavily miseducated on. Both heavily miseducated on, both on Jesus' stance on marriage and the importance of it, and how marriage is actually used to undergird or is the foundation of the economic system of empire,
Mm.
and not the foundation of the church
Yeah,
in the ways that it has been made to believe,
yeah,
been made people believe for
yeah.
so long. And so yeah, that's definitely something we need to correct the record on.
You're Gen
And stop
Z,
doing it.
Tristan?
I'm a millennial. I'm 38, and just right
Okay,
after
I
you.
was about to say. I was like, man, who is this Gen Z that's hot? Man.
Yo, I'm
Yeah,
telling you, right? Like the boy is good.
Yeah.
Like they said on
Yeah.
that movie, right? Like I mean, because I, yeah, I mean, and I'm, we gonna wrap it up here, y'all. But I think it's so important, right? Like, is as we are trying to organize, whether it's politically, economically, whatever the case may be, um, like our people understand and respect the word of God.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we, right, like as organizers, as entrepreneurs, as members of clergy, how can we make this digestible so that
Mm-hmm.
we can get people to move? More movement is more freedom, it's more money, it's more life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and if we can start to create, like, which we're gonna work on, the book club, right? And we can do something in person with like
Yeah.
kids, right? Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like a Black History, something, right? Like where they come and they meet older brothers and sisters and they
Mm.
learn about all of these different figures that made life dope, right? Like, cause that's what we do as Black people. We make dope stuff.
Mm. True.
Like, but it all got to work together, right? The hands need to hold each other. And
Yeah.
we've gotten so far away from like the church for all of those different reasons, right? Like, going into, what Tristan was talking about with marriage, right? Like, we
Yeah.
live in a completely different time where like, women don't need men like they did like back like a long time ago. So what is
Mm-hmm.
even your identity as a man right now anymore? Like, like
Mm.
that's something that like, that's gonna take years to unpack. You see what it's doing to them young white dudes, they going crazy.
Yeah.
They're losing it. I mean, there's some brothers not far behind them, but you know what I'm saying? These people who have been given this theology, they've been given this point of view, they do not understand how to reckon with themselves because change has come.
Yeah.
They have no idea what to do. You know what I mean? But there needs to be some support there.
Right.
Where is it? Right? Just like
Mm.
this technology is coming and it's bulldozing through our community, there's no support there.
Right.
Right? Like, so if we're going to have 11 organizations, fine. But
Yeah.
everybody grab the rope.
Yeah.
We're going to hold on to that motherfucker together so that
Yeah.
we can be in one accord with how we going to help push Black people forward.
Yeah.
Because we've been, I mean,
I mean, let me
we
ask you
still
this.
live in food deserts.
Do we know what that agenda is? Like, I think what's interesting about Project 2025, it's one of the most recent times where there was like, I mean, I disagree with everything that's in it, but it was like, wow, they literally went point by point and gave this comprehensive like thing. It's not nebulous. It's not, forward together, right? Because when you try to get people behind that, people really don't know what the pieces are. So it's like, do we even know what the pieces are that we would organize around? And I'm somebody who's like kind of in it, and I don't know. You pick any given issue, and there's not clarity.
I mean, I think we should read whatever that thing Ice Cube made. He tried to get a Trump. They got ridiculed for.
Mm-hmm.
I
Ooh,
think that
yeah,
might be a
that'd be
start.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be a start. But I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, it is food, money, health. Like, I mean, so like it's and like the money like gives us access to like high speed internet, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So like all of that tech stuff will fall into there because we would have time to go to City Hall to advocate for ourselves. They wouldn't have
Mhm.
to change the time once a month so they can do it at 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we can't go and represent ourselves, things
Right.
like that. Right. So like knowing that this is the case and knowing like we got all of these black doctors, lawyers, all and they say it's not enough, but we got some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's enough of them for us to do something. Like
Yeah.
so look, there's something. Like so me and my daddy was having a conversation one day and he was saying like it ain't no money. I'm
Hmm.
like, there's gotta be some money, dog. Like we talk about the churches, the theatrical, these nice
Yeah.
churches.
Yeah.
That's money,
Yes.
right? Like that's money. All of these entertainers that we, you know what I'm saying, and they bought that's money.
Yep.
Black Friday, shopping, Christmas, everything. That's money. Like it's some money around here.
Mm-hmm.
How can we do a better job at harnessing the energy?
Yeah.
Like just and being real about it. Like how can we harness this energy real well? So that we
Mhm.
can then create this immovable force. Like but I mean, we do not have the same change that we did have. We have the internet. Like and
Right.
if we can amass enough money, we can do whatever we want on the internet. Like you see how fast it is. You told me you made that money on school. Like
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it ain't rocket science, but
It's really, yeah.
the institutions that are have the lead in the ear of our people. Why? What's going on there? Right?
Right.
Like like and if there are pastors that need to be moved aside, how do we start coups?
Yeah.
Like you got to go, player. Like something, because right? Like our kids, like yo, we having a hard time finding a job.
Yeah. It's even worse for, there was this was last year. This was in 2024. And we there's a group of Gen Zers who were all at TSU who we were paying to go do lit drop. And so, I like to take, if you're working for the org, hey, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna break bread. So we were sitting down having pizza. And I don't know how the question came up, but it was basically like, are you excited about voting? What are you most excited about voting? Because they're doing this for the election. Like clearly they have thoughts. 4 out of 4 were like, I'm not voting. And so, Adonis, who was working with me, was like, your ancestors died, blah, blah, blah. I said, no. I said, let's hear him out. And so there was this one guy, his name is Moses, and he was like, I graduated last year, I didn't get into anywhere else. I got into TSU. I have $30,000 in student loan debt. I work 30 hours a week at a warehouse making $8 an hour. My take home pay is blah, blah, blah. Like he laid it all the way out. And when I paused and really thought about it, I was like, man, this is like automation. At least when I was 16, they paid me to tap the thing at Taco Bell, right? You do that yourself now. You order from Uber Eats. They have there's no cashiers anymore. So like the world that we handed to them. Now imagine the generation after them. That's crazy because there is no foundation. Us that are in our 30s, late 30s, we can make something shake, right? We can reach and get a connection and make something happen. But what about those who never had a chance and never had the opportunity to get the soft skills? Like I don't know if you've heard of the Gen Z stare. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
It's called the Gen Z stare. And basically, it's a condition of the fact that we played outside. There was a world before social media for us. There's this just blank stare that is basically, it's a social result of their lack of social interaction on a regular basis.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Google it. It's called the Gen Z stare. I heard about it. I was laughing. I thought it was satire. And then I think I was at Frenchie's ordering. And the girl just paused, looking at me. And I'm like, right? And no, she just like that. Bro, seriously, Google it. It is a phenomenon. Other people have talked about it. It's called the Gen Z
That
stare.
shit just stopped and
Yeah,
looked.
like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
then
I
so
was like,
what's
is there like
next?
a glitch in the matrix or
Yeah.
something? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so I mean, like, to round it off, I think that, these things, right? Like, we need to have better safeguards for all of that. And, have a conversation, guiding our seasoned saints to, hey, you know, yeah, I learned that word. I learned that phrase the other day. I think it's wonderful. Guiding them to like, hey, guys, this
Let's
this is
find
what
something
needs
else
to
for
be
you to do.
going on.
Let's find something else for you to do. Let's find
Yeah,
something else.
yeah. Like, or right, if you are still like you still, you still got some coal in there, still got some heat in the fire. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, hey, would you please hear this perspective?
Yes.
Right? Can we collaborate? Is there a way? How can, right? My whole thing is, how can I help? Right? How
Yes.
can I be of service?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we definitely need more servants. We need more people to just want to serve. And if you're just like the best server, everybody gonna want to follow you anyway because you're the best.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm gonna wrap us up. This has been the shit. I appreciate you, gentlemen, for your perspectives. This was wonderful. We are going to reconvene. I will have both of these, wonderful guys back on the show. Tristan and I are going to get into the church's view of marriage. Am, you know, I am excited to hear you expound on that in a real way. In a real way, like Aaron the plumber says. Uh, before we get out of here, do any either one of you have anything for the Matrix? Anything you want anybody to know? You want to get tell them your Instagram, where to find you, if they need anything. Are you single? What you want them to know.
I'm gonna push a plug for TEDx Third Ward. I organized a TED event called TEDx Third Ward. Is January 10th. If either of you would like to be VIP guests, we know I got some floor seats. It's at Match Theater, January 10th. Lots of positive vibes and big thinkers.
I love it. I love to be
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Likewise, likewise, likewise. Um, let's see. No, man. You know what? I need to do better of getting or developing a social media footprint. I have a couple of sermons on YouTube, but they are in the collection of the church that I preach in a rotation. So maybe I'll create my own page so they'll be a little easier to get to. Should have a preaching rotation coming up in January. Um, so hey, be a good time to come check out a sermon if you want. Also, for the Bible class, because I do think Bible class is more effective as far as teaching and kind of getting people involved. I'll be teaching for a month. I don't know which month next, but next year I'll be teaching for a month straight, and so you can also check it out there. Some of them have Zooms. I don't know if they will, but on a Sunday if you want, just pull up. And man, yeah, we're gonna really put the people to work, man, and see what people are really about. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you inviting me. There, brother Durrell, appreciate you inviting me to the event. Would love to show up if that's a possibility. And so until next time, man, it's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, man. I did. You can do a Bible class anytime on this platform, brother. Anytime.
I
Like, yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Definitely,
Like
definitely,
we
definitely. We'll get together, look at some dates, man, and I'll take you up on it.
yeah, man. Like, I love your perspective, dog. Like, and I think there are a lot of people around our age and younger who will be refreshed by the way you see
Agreed.
the theology and the way that just how you give it out, man. Because it's not it ain't fake. It's real, real. It's real, real. It's real, real. But so that is the end of our show. Thank you all for listening, looking, watching, learning. It was dope. It was gonna be dope. It's gonna stay dope. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I'm not gonna stream next Thursday. I might. No, I'm not doing it. I'm making my mind up right now. I'm not doing it. So I will see y'all Thursday after next. Um, and we gonna stay fly. We gonna stay fresh. We gonna get money. We gonna do all them wonderful things because that is what the Father called us to do. You know what I mean? So love, laughter, and learning. I am Christian. These my dudes. We out of here.